The next thing we're going to look at is related to something we did in chapter 15 with sampling distributions. So we looked at a problem with Juanita working in a laboratory, and they gave us a specific standard deviation they were interested in, and we had to find a sample size that would result in that standard deviation. So at confidence intervals, what we're going to be interested in is being able to set the size of the margin of error and find the sample size to get that margin of error. So what the margin of error does, it's that plus or minus part to finding the endpoints of the interval, and it sets the width of the interval. So if we want that interval to be a certain size, we can use that margin of error formula to calculate the sample size for that. So our margin of error formula is z star times sigma over the square root of n. And if we rearrange that using a little bit of algebra, what we get is that n is equal to the quantity z star times sigma over the margin of error, and then we take that whole thing and square it. So let's look at an example. This one's on Christmas spending. A poll conducted November 16th through the 19th by the American Research Group, Inc. asked American adults how much they plan to spend on gifts for Christmas. How many subjects are needed to estimate the amount of planned Christmas spending within $5 with 95% confidence? Initial survey results indicate that sigma is equal to 82.25. So that part that says we want to make an estimate within $5, that's going to be your margin of error there. All right, so go ahead and use that formula that says n equals and see if you can work out what sample size you're going to need here. All right, so n is going to be equal to 1.96, so that's tied to our 95% confidence level. And then sigma was stated to be 82.25, and then we're going to divide by that margin of error of 5. And if we square that thing, we're going to get approximately 1,040 people is how many people we need to survey to get our results that accurate. So when you answer these types of questions, you do always need to round up to the nearest whole number. It's highly unlikely that you'll be able to use a fraction or a decimal part of a participant. So something to keep in mind as you're doing these types of problems.